From big cities to smaller communities, America's middle class is shrinking. A new report by the Pew Research Center says 9 out of 10 metro areas saw the middle class shrink since 2000. Researchers say it's happening in every part of the country. They say income inequality, one of the main reasons. It's driven by factors like globalization, the decline of unions, the outsourcing of jobs, and then the advancement of technology. I do want to start with what exactly the middle class is, because interestingly enough, almost all Americans will describe themselves as being a part of that economic
who's in the middle class here?
A lot of people would think they are, but Reg, it's actually not true. They break it down.
They really do. It's like you think that you're middle class, but I think the numbers are 42,000 to 125. So
right. If you have a three-person household.
Three-person household. So that's not a lot of money, but it depends on where you live, I think.
Did that surprise you?
It did. I thought the middle class was a lot higher.
It went up above that mark.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about $125,000, and on the surface that sounds like a lot of money, but you're talking about two working parents that are making $62,500 each, and then, okay, maybe we've got to pay for daycare, maybe we've got to pay for 2 cars to get ourselves to work, maybe we've got to pay a mortgage, we've got to pay insurance. That money goes away very, very quickly.
So where did the middle class go? I immediately thought, okay. Maybe
everybody's
they're not
going
doing
lower,
as well.
right?
Actually, they only dropped about 1% went into that lower income area, and it rose from 17% of wealthy households in 2000 to 20% in 2014. So 3% increase.
So more
versus
people
a 1%
are moving
decrease.
up than are moving down.
Exactly. So we're seeing a little bit of that kind of growing gap.
But it doesn't seem like it. We get food banks are always looking for donations. I mean, more and more people are using resources, and a lot of families are homeless. I mean, how can they say that income is growing?
Because people aren't moving out of that lower income bracket, right? That's
you're stuck down there. I mean, if you're going to define the middle class by looking at the median income and then splitting out and saying, like, here's how we're going to do it, you are going to end up with this. I mean, if you're at $42,000, like, you are pretty close to poor.
Yeah.
I mean, to define that as middle class for a family.
You're check to check.
That is almost worse than check to check. That is, you have food insecurity, which is kind of the new way that hunger is being described. Like, do you have to choose, am I going to fill a prescription for my kid, or am I going to buy a healthy dinner? And you end up having to make those choices.
You don't want to see a gap like this widen. This is not something that's actually good for America's economic success in the future, because we saw a lot of those jobs that were manufacturing jobs, they actually went out of the country. So we're losing a big chunk of jobs kind of in that middle range. So if you are in that lower bracket, the jump to the higher bracket is much more difficult to get to.
We've seen that here, Reg, with a lot of the stories we've had about the minority unemployment rate.
Exactly.
It's like, how do they jump?
55 and plus who lost those good jobs and now can't find jobs that
It'll
compare.
probably be the issue of the presidential campaign.
I think so.
Yeah.